I'll start this video off by saying that if assholes could fly, YouTube would be an airport. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I'd like to wish all of you and your families a happy holidays. And may this upcoming year bring you health, happiness, and all that you wish for. Over this past year, I intensified the coverage of the mafias in Italy and Sicily. At first, I received some resistance, as certain viewers were totally uninterested. And I understand, but more significantly, I wanted to give viewers a taste of the mafia in an unwatered down version, as it's become in New York. Many people have heard me say all roads lead to Italy. And what I mean by that is prior to Italians and Sicilians migrating to the United States, the mafia existed in their homeland. Those traditions were only unleashed here. I've said it before, Italian law enforcement, along with their prosecutors, are steps ahead of the FBI. On any given day, they're blitzing the mafia and making arrests, or capturing mafia fugitives abroad. A quick notable mention is Chief Prosecutor Nicola Grattieri, who also sits high on the mafia's kill list. Although the 'Ndrangheta has been his central focus, he does prosecute other organized crime groups, such as the Camorra, and has hundreds of convictions and long collective prison sentences handed down under his belt. The mafia's hate towards him is that he systematically dismantled their power. He's the modern-day Giovanni Falcone and deserves recognition and applause for the work he's done. Of course, there'll be people who will say, oh, now Panisi's praising crime fighters. And I can appreciate that thought process. However, I'm no longer part of the mob, or the Lucchese family for that matter, and I haven't been since 2018. My days of cops and robbers are over. Which brings us to the reason of this video. Many viewers wonder and have questioned me on how the transition went from being in the mob to living life as a civilian. First, let me clear up a complete false rumor. I never was in the witness protection program. In fact, I outright refused it. It was explained to me that I wouldn't be able to see or contact my youngest daughter. I'm not going to get into why, but when I heard this, my answer was flat out no thank you to the program. Another fallacy was that the FBI accompanied me whenever I was out and about. I walked around, and still do, alone. Transitioning from being a member of that life to an average civilian is by no means a single event. It's a slow, drawn-out process. The first thing, naturally, was cutting out an entire group of people that was once in my life, which for me boiled down to a core group of guys, some of whom I remained in touch with until they showed me that they could no longer be trusted. The average person doesn't pay attention to their life's patterns, and we all have them. But from a security standpoint, patterns equals danger. I'm not going to get too deep into this specific area, but keeping patterns like every other Tuesday, you go get a haircut at the ABC barbershop is a no-no. One of the most difficult things is reprogramming your mind, which is not an easy thing to do, especially when you lived your whole life thinking differently. As I speak to you now, I'm far from having eliminated a certain thought pattern and still have much work to do in this area. I think a lot of former members feel like they lost their identities when they found themselves no longer part of the mob. I don't believe I've encountered this problem. The Lucchese's, or the mob, didn't make me who I am. Some guys feel a loss of power because as a member, they did have certain power. Again, before and while in that life, and now after it, if there's a need to act, I do it alone. So I never felt any loss of power. If you're someone who believes there's strength in numbers, then I could see that being an issue. As far as the hate goes, this world is full of haters, more so in the present day than years ago, and that's thanks to social media. Hate, as they say, is a wasted emotion, and ultimately does more harm to the hater than his intended target. Many of you have heard me say that spewing negativity only invites negativity into your own life. There are many people I dislike. However, my beliefs suggest that I pray for these sick individuals, so that's what I do. One of the greatest tools that I've put into practice early on, especially when I entered the social media arena or circus, is never to defend a lie. Trolls and haters want to draw you in. They're so desperate for attention, even negative attention is acceptable for them. So the old saying always comes to mind. Love me, hate me, but don't ignore me. And I'll offer an example of the character of these people. One day, a person tried leaving a hateful comment under one of my videos, so I deleted it. And over the following hour, this sick individual bombarded the comment section with about 20 to 25 at a time comments using fake accounts. When all was said and done, I had to block over 400 accounts. Here's reality. Yes, whoever this person was accomplished wasting an hour of my day. But in the bigger picture, look at the life this other person is living. They had at their disposal over 400 fake accounts. Who in their right mind has the time to do something like that? So it became clearer to me what I was dealing with, which leads to another saying, know thy enemy. And it's why I'm never going to entertain the haters and trolls that exist all over YouTube and social media. They're obviously my biggest fans because they watch whatever I put out, hoping to use it or spin it in most cases in some negative way. I believe that trust is one of the biggest issues. In life, you have to possess some kind of trust. But after everything I've been through, disappointment after disappointment, and betrayals, once I became involved in public platforms and social media, it started all over again. And believe me, the mob's got nothing on certain so-called civilians. They're just as, if not more, treacherous. In prison, we used to say, if you have one good guy that you could fully trust and that has your back, you're in good shape. There was a time in my life where I had to trust a lot of people, yet I still kept my circle small. Presently, I no longer have the need to trust large groups of people, but I still believe in that small circle. Less is more. During my time in the mob, life was moving extremely fast, and I never really had the opportunity to just enjoy the moment. At least for me, that's the way it was. There was no smelling the roses. And this was something I gradually had to get used to, accepting that it's okay to sit back and just relax. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Anyone who'd like to show their appreciation for videos like this, or more importantly, help me to continue making them, you can donate with the Super Thanks icon down below, or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sit Down News, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. The site can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. I think one of the most important feelings comes from within, and that's coming to terms with that you are a good person, because it doesn't matter what the world may think of you. You're the person who counts. There are a lot of people who are listening to this who are down on themselves. And my advice to you is love yourself, because until you do, you can never fully give love or be loved. I'll end by saying living life looking forward helped me keep my former life where it rightfully belongs, in the past, behind me.